Friday afternoon. We are trying something a little bit different today, with two different camera views. I know you don't normally get to see my face, which is probably a good thing. And I'm just testing to see if this works. So, obviously, we just need to give everything a chance to connect and catch up, and then we'll see if the view is working for us. Oh, here I am. The view is working. Oh, and we have volume as well. So let me just turn that down. So you can see me, which is awesome. The angle is a bit strange. For some reason, it's pointing away from me, the camera, but it's not. So I thought I would try this view for a little while, just to see if it does work, because we have had issues with using two different camera views in the past. But ideally what I'd like to be able to do is to say hello to all of you, and you get to see my face a little bit before we get into the crafting. So this is a little bit of an experiment, and we'll see how it goes. But do give me your feedback in your comments if there are any issues. And I'm going to see then, once we've got a few more people on board, we'll flip to a different angle, to the overhead angle. And again, fingers crossed that it works. So this is really odd for me, because normally I'm just talking away to myself and looking down, and I don't normally have to look into the camera. So it's a little bit strange. So, but hopefully I'll get used to it. And remember that I'm supposed to be looking up, not looking down. So what have we got to talk about today? Well, I am going to be doing some crafting as part of our Valentine's week. So I'm sure if you follow Time for Tea Designs, you will have seen that we're having a Valentine's themed week this week. And the idea of doing it this week is that you've then got plenty of time and inspiration to create your Valentine's projects, whether they be for your other half or for your best girlfriends. So you've got loads of inspiration there to look at and use when you make your own projects. So there's loads and loads of stuff on our blog and on the website that you can look at. We also have a free class available on the website, which shows you how to make a cute shaker card. But we also have a really, really special online virtual class that will be taking place tomorrow at 3 o'clock as part of a private Facebook group. So this one isn't a free class, it's just £15. But in that class, you're going to get so much more than you do in the free class. So we will be making 3 cards during the class, and you will get a full supply list for each of the cards. You will also get a colouring guide for each of the images that we use throughout the class, and loads of hints and tips on how to be able to put those together. And then you'll also get a pre-class preparation list as well, so that you've got everything that you need then to be able to craft along with me. The great thing about the class as well is that you will be able to watch it after the event has happened, and go back and either recreate what we've made, or if there's bits that you missed and you want to go back over them again, then you can do. And that also works if you're not available on the time that the live happens. So the class will be at 3 o'clock on Saturday, but if you've paid for the class and paid for tickets for the class, you can access that anytime you want. So that's tomorrow. So there's still plenty of time for you to get your tickets. All of the information is on our website and on our social media pages. You'll probably see it somewhere on Facebook. If you're watching via Facebook, you'll see it below, and you'll like I say, you'll get all of the information that you need for before the class, all on that once you sign up and you're part of that Facebook group. And also what I wanted to say is, don't worry if you don't have all of the supplies that are listed, because you can substitute them for something else. And if anybody's struggling during the class, I'll be able to help you out with some different items that you might be able to use. So, hello Emma, how are you? So I'm having to look away because I can see my comments over there and my camera's over here. So now we've got a few people on, and I'm guessing that I haven't had anybody say that they can't see or hear me. So I'm guessing that's a bonus. Annalisa, Emma, everything all right with vision and sound? Fingers crossed. So I'm going to flip to the overhead now, and we'll have a go at some crafting because I've got an idea of what I want to do today. So let's see if this works. Ta-da! So let's see. I can see on my view. Oh yay! It worked! Woohoo! Oh, I feel so technically proficient. Can you still hear me? Let me. I'm going to turn up my sound. She says, and see if I can hear myself. Oh, yay! I heard myself. So that means sound and vision is working. I feel like I've accomplished something today. If I don't accomplish anything else for the entire day, I accomplished this. So, yay me! Good. Oh, Annalisa says, yes, you can still hear very well and loves that she gets to see my face. Well, you're one of very few people who would say that, Annalisa, but I appreciate the support. Bless you. What I've got in front of me here then to show you just quickly is that we are in a magazine. Yay! So this magazine is Sound is better than normal. Well done. Oh, I don't know what I've done, Annalisa. I must have pressed something, but I have no idea. So the magazine that we're in, it's a UK magazine. I don't know if you'll be able to get this internationally, guys, but this is Die Cutting Essentials magazine, and it's a great magazine. As you can see, it's got loads. It's going to have loads of die cutting kind of hints and tips and inspiration. You get with it this free stuff as well, so you get a lovely tulip die. I think that looks absolutely stunning, to be honest with you. I'm not usually a fan of products that come free on magazines because some of them tend not to be very usable, but I do think that tulip die is really pretty and would make for a very nice Mother's Day card. So you get a freebie with it. The magazine itself, how much is the magazine? Does it tell me anywhere? The magazine, the magazine is $9.99. A little bit pricey for a magazine. I remember when magazines like this used to be about £4 or £5, but you know, hey ho, that is the way of the world at the moment, isn't it? So I'll just do a little flick through because, like I said, there's lots of other good reasons to buy the magazine, I think. So that's a cute little card there. Some different styles of card making in here. These are the tulips that are on the front there. Some what's new pages. Let's go back to the back. Again, lots of features around those tulips. Some nice ones here with butterflies and hearts. So again, like I say, it's a very focused on die cutting, so you're probably not going to see much stamping, but I did quite like these little sewing makes, if you like. But then you do get the bit that features us. So in here we've got 5 cards featuring the Don't Have the Hump set. I think that's what it's called, Hump Day. I can't remember what's it called. The Happy Hump Day stamp and die set. Look at me not remembering what things are called. So yeah, it's the Happy Hump Day stamp set, which is such a cute set, and there's loads of different things, different styles of cards in there. And what I'm thinking I might do when we've done with all of the Valentine's stuff, is have a go at maybe doing a video of one of the cards. One of the cards that's in there, let me find it again, sorry. This card here is actually, it's an interactive card. It's got the pull tab mechanism on it. So the little camel moves across, and it was such a fun one to make. So that might be a nice one to do as a video for you guys. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing that, that's in Die Cutting Essentials, and that's out now. So there you go, little plug for Time for Tea Designs in there. Yeah, I think I will do a video, Annalisa, because I think it will be a really nice one to do. Excuse me while I have a tiny little drink of my tea. I've also should tell you that I've got my heated blanket on because it is so cold in here. It's ridiculous. So, card for today then. I've got a number of products. Obviously, I've been looking at all the different products that we've got at Time for Tea that are Valentine's kind of themed, and we've got a number of sets that could be Valentine's themed, but not necessarily Valentine's. And I've been having, using them and playing with them to do some projects for this week, but I haven't been able to use them all. So I thought today would be a really good opportunity for me to be able to use some of them, the ones that I haven't used yet, to make a card. So yeah, hello Susan, how are you? Oh, hello guys, I hope you're all having a good afternoon. So, like I said, there are plenty of different products. This is one that I haven't used, which I really wanted to do. Obviously, we've got the Let's Spoon set, and we've got the We Go Together stamp set, which are both perfect for Valentine's. And I do think that that You Light Up My Life, or Let's Spoon is definitely one that I would do for Anne, without a shadow of a doubt. That would be the perfect card for him, because we do love a little spoon. So is that too much information? Sorry about that. So yeah, so I think that's a definite one that I think I'm going to do for Anne. But also one that could be used for Anne as well, I think, is the Movie Night stamp set, because these characters here are adorable. They really are cute, and it also comes with a couple of really nice sentiments. So you've got the date night sentiment, which will really be really good, and you've also got Love Is Sharing Your Popcorn, which I think is going to be really, really cute. So I think that possibly this one with the Love Is Sharing Your Popcorn would be quite cute to do. So I'm kind of erring on the side of that. And I was just thinking, let me just have a look, see my other stamp set that I've got to hand is. This one again was one that I did consider. This is the Pumpkin Spice stamp set, and I thought if you wanted to maybe send something to a friend instead of your other half, it'd be good to just have some of these mugs, for inviting somebody for a cup of tea and a catch up would be kind of cool. So that was another idea that I had. Now let me see. I don't know if. So we've got the Perfect Blend stamp set here as well, which has got the I Love Brew on there as well. Sending You a Whole Latte of Love. Oh, I'm kind of tempted to do that now. I've come up with the idea. I'm going to keep those to one side. But yeah, this was the stamp set that I was thinking of. I've got too many ideas and not enough time. That's my problem. So in the Home Is Where the Heart Is stamp set, you've got all of the elements that you can use to build kind of a little lounge setup. So one of the things we love to do, we do love to go to the cinema, but we also love a bit of kind of Netflix and chill, if you like. So we love sitting on the sofa and watching a movie. So that was my other thought, was that maybe I could have a sat on the sofa watching a movie with a Love Is Sharing Your Popcorn. Or even the Let's Stay In and Watch Movies would be really cute, wouldn't it? So yeah, I think that's kind of cute. I feel like that might be. But I also like this idea as well. Oh, so many ideas. I can't cope with all of the ideas that I've got. The backdrop, I also was toying with using this die because I think this is a lovely die. Hello, Lauren. How are you? So this die here has got all of the stitched hearts going around the outside, which I think is really cute. And you can also cut out the middle of it to make this a nice wide border. Or if you don't want to do that, it just cuts out a solid piece, but with the stitched hearts. So that's really cool. My only concern with using that one for this particular design is that I feel like it's going to be better on a landscape, and this is portrait. So that one would probably work better for this, because we could do some nice ink blending. We could add our coffee cups in the middle, and then our sentiment, which would be very, very cool. So that's giving me some vibes there. I feel like that could be quite a cute one to do. So for this one, the background that I'm thinking of is maybe using this with some nice ink blending in the background. So this is a really cool little die. Obviously it cuts out all of these gorgeous little hearts. And then let's have a look. So again, this is me kind of just playing, not really knowing what I'm doing. Just I've got some products that I know I want to use. How am I going to use them? So I'm imagining the scenario. I've got my little sofa here. We've got our little TV there. So that's how that's going to sit. And then we've got our characters and their popcorn. Oh, and I know what we could do here as well. I wonder, I've got a couple of ideas actually. So we've got our little characters, and I'm thinking of doing two little cats because they've both got the popcorn. And they've obviously got a nice big popcorn there. And then we can have our sentiment at the top there, which would be kind of cool. Let's stay in and watch the movies. So this is building quite a nice little picture in the background. This is a little bit of, how I decide, right, where is my placement going to be if I've got no clue at all, because I want to make sure it's all going to fit on my background, and is it going to work with what I'm planning on doing. So the other idea that I did have is in my little stencil pack here. I have got lots of gorgeous stencils here. But we've got this popcorn stencil, which is very, very cool. And we've also got the movie star stencil. Now, we're focusing on the hearts, and the hearts with the heart in the center of the TV works really well, because obviously we're making this themed for Valentine's. But if you wanted to, you could, instead of the die, maybe use one of these in the background. And I was wondering whether to ink blend my background with this behind the die. But I feel like that might be a bit too busy, so we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it very nice and clean, really. So what's my colour scheme going to be, though? I wonder. So what I do have here, and I think I showed you this the other day, is these are my kind of swatches, colour swatches, for just testing out different colour schemes. And I am looking, I haven't actually noted the colours, but I think I pretty much can work out what those colours are. But what I have started to do is I've started to do these square ones with the actual colours that I've used on there, just so that I've got those as a reference. But I do love this colour scheme. I'm also a real fan of this. I think there could be a bit of a, I guess, a compromise, if you like, between the two. That's a lovely, lovely colour scheme there. So yeah, I'm very much enjoying that as a colour scheme. Interesting. I think so. We could. I mean, we don't have to follow these, but we can. But these are definitely a great starting point, I think, for me anyway, personally. So I'm going to move this to one side because I don't need that right at this minute. I need some cardstock is what I need. So let's grab some cardstock. This is, I believe, an A6 card base, so we will grab one of those. There we go. A6 card base. And I am wondering whether to do the die cutting in either in white or in a contrasting colour, maybe even in maybe a bit of a almost a cream shade. Let's have a look at this. It's a really nice vanilla shade. It's very pretty, and that would definitely go with our colour scheme. Would pop in the background. So I'm quite fancying that as an idea. That's very pretty. Not quite as Valentine's themed, but that's definitely got potential with the oranges, or maybe something along these lines. That one's definitely calling out to me. I think I'm going to go with this. It's calling out to me. So I need to work out what colour scheme that actually is. So I'm going to just move some of my stamps off the back of here because we're going to do some die cutting. So I do tend to start with my background first, sort out my background, and then work up towards whatever my my images are going to be. That way I know what my colour scheme is for when I'm colouring in, and everything is pretty much ready to build once my images are coloured then. So I'm cutting around my cardstock for the simple reason that my die cutting machine is a little bit temperamental, and its pressure points tend to be more in the centre. So if I position my die in any of the corners, it won't fully cut. So I know that if I do it this way, it will cut. So let's pop this through the machine. Apologies if it's a bit noisy. Oh, this is exciting. So I think I'll use this as my stamping card, and I will probably ink blend directly onto my card base. So let's just, oh, look at that, oh, pretty much every single one has popped straight out. So you can see in this corner, like I say, that bit of pressure on my machine has meant that this corner hasn't fully sliced through. So I'm going to use my my scissors just to trim that, because it is just basically it's just not quite got all the way through. It's cut partially but not completely. So a little snip and that's sorted. Now you can keep these hearts. I'm a bit of a I'm a bit of a one for hoarding things, and I've hoarded these hearts before and then never really done anything with them. So, and I really should, because they're adorable and really useful. You could use them as shaker elements, for some larger shaker bits. You can colour them to look like the, you know, the Love Heart sweets that you can get. They're perfectly shaped for that, and you can put your own little messages on. So they're great to keep hold of. But I'm terrible, like I say, for hoarding bits of paper that I never get a chance to use. So I'm going to pop them to one side. Just using my bit of cardstock there to scrape them off. And we'll pop that back. And this is my A6 top folding card base. Where should I pop these then? I know what we'll do. I've got my little cloud dish. We can pop them in there. So you can see now that our hearts are going to fit completely across our card. If we take it from the top folding to a landscape position. That's perfect. You can get this die in a horizontal as well. So, and that's got slightly larger hearts on there. So it's a slightly different design and in the portrait position. So I like that. I'm liking that. So we're going to do a little bit of ink blending straight onto this background. Ooh, you know what I am going to do? Bear with me, everyone. This is a top tip. This is a good one. So this is quite tricky to pop up because it's got lots of little areas. So to cover all of that in foam tape is going to be tricky. But if we use some fun foam, which I've got my little collection of fun foam offcuts here, if we cut it from fun foam, then we're going to give it the dimension that we need. Oh, that'd be great. We can use it that way around. So much easier. So let's pop this through the machine. It doesn't have to be too neat because it's obviously, we're not going to see it. It's going to be behind our actual die cut. So let's pop this through. So again, sorry, there will be a bit more noise. Oh, and it's moved on my thing. There we go. Let's position that. I don't think I really put my my tape in the right place. There. That's better. That's better. I'm going to no, do it that way. There we go. Has this cut all the way through? I think it has. So let's have a look. So this, and again, you're going to get loads of these now. You're going to get loads of little white foam hearts. But you can then, oh, this is so cute, because what you can do is you can pop them together. See, stack them up, and then you've got like a little sweetie. Isn't that cute? I think that's so cute. So I really need to use them for something. I need to think of a way of using them, and then I will share it with you, because I do think there's always something to be done, isn't there? You know, you never throw anything away as a crafter. You can keep it and repurpose it somehow. So I need to find a way to do that. So let's take colour these bits out of here. Should have just popped them straight into there, shouldn't I? Try and tidy up as we go instead of making more mess. We'll pop those into this little craft dish. I bought a lovely little, like a little craft dish today, or a little jewellery dish really. It's a heart-shaped glass one, and it's got gold around the rim of it. From Home Bargains. It was only a couple of pounds. I think it was £2.50, and I just thought, oh, that'll look so nice on my nail table when I'm doing nails, just for you maybe to put your jewellery in, that kind of thing. So I do love all of the you know, all the Valentine's themed things that are around at the moment. And I know not everybody has got maybe somebody that they want to send a Valentine's card to at this time of year, but it's a bit like Halloween for me, is that I don't think you necessarily have to have someone to enjoy all of the fun things that are around. I don't anyway. I just think it's a fun time. I like any kind of celebration or excuse for a little bit of a celebration. So, but that's just me. So I'm going to stick those together in a bit, because I think I might do either a little bit of inking on here, or some ink splattering. I'm not sure yet. So I'll pop them to one side, but we're going to focus on this first, and I'm going to get my stencil mat out. And like I say, we're going to do this straight onto the back of here. So I'm going to use a bit of washi tape. I'm going to curl it into a little circle, and then pop that on the inside just to hold it closed, just so that I've got a little bit of so it's not opening up, and it's a little bit more secure on my surface here. And then we're going to do some ink blending. So I need to figure out what the colour scheme was that I used, because I don't know. I think it was definitely a bit of worn lipstick. Feels like worn lipstick was definitely one of the colours. And I'm thinking that Abandoned Coral maybe was one of the colours as well. I think Abandoned Coral would have been the darkest of colours. The palest of colours could have been the Spun Sugar, but I'm thinking that I might go with a bit of Kitsch Flamingo. Saltwater Taffy is very pretty, but I'm thinking maybe a bit of the Kitsch Flamingo, which I know is a bit of a brighter pink, but I'm liking it. So we're just going to go for it. And I'm going to start with the lightest shade and work down to my darkest shade. I'm going to have my darkest shade at the bottom is my plan. And then we'll just see what happens, isn't it? as you know, I love to experiment. So I am starting with this lovely, so the pink that I've used here is definitely not the Kitsch Flamingo. It's a much warmer, more salmon tone. This is definitely a brighter pink. So, but I'm going to keep going with it because I can. Because I think it'll work. And it's a new colour combination then, isn't it? So I'm holding onto my brush, finger and thumb, firm pressure, and I'm going to do a third of the, I said I would start from the top down, and I've done it the opposite way. I am crazy, and I can't flip it the other way around because our card will open the wrong way. So Annalisa says that the die cutting machine did a great job with the fun foam, and your big shop really struggles with it. Well, that is, I mean, it's just very cheap fun foam, and it could just be if you've got your sandwich not quite right. But I will say that the machine I used previously, before I had had the Gemini, couldn't cut anything other than just very basic, not too thick cardstock. So I do understand. Hello, Wendy. Wendy says these look like lovely ideas. I have a lot of lovely ideas, Wendy, but do they turn out to be any good? That's the question. But we always have fun along the way while we experiment and try things out. Is anybody crafting along with me today? And what are we all up to? What are we doing while we're watching? I'm always really interested to know what everybody's doing while they're watching and whereabouts you are when you're watching as well. So I know, Annalisa, obviously you are in Canada, and I love, as we do in the UK, we always want to know what everybody's weather's like, don't we? So what's the weather like? I know I'm sat here with my heated blanket on because I can't afford to put the heating on, basically. None of us in the UK dare even have the heating on at the moment. Is that the same elsewhere in the world? Are we all, sitting around in our, what are those blankets that are like, basically you wear your blanket situation? I nearly bought one of them today, but it didn't have arms in it. It was just like a cape with a hood on, and I thought that didn't look very practical to me. So I put it back. But I love my heated blanket, and my hot water bottle is getting used so much. So that's how we're coping here in Sheffield at time for THQ. To be fair, HQ, so again, for those of you that don't know, I have a home craft room and office here at my home, but all of our stock is housed elsewhere, and that's kind of what we refer to as HQ, because that's where we go to process all your orders, and we manage everything from there. That is really nice and roasty toasty warm because it's kept warm for all the other people that use the building. So actually, if I wanted to get warm, I'd probably be better off setting up my office over there than sitting here in the cold all day. Just catching up with your comments. Annalisa is having a lunch. What are you having for lunch, Annalisa? And it's so weird to think that it's still lunchtime where you are. Having said that, I didn't have my lunch until 3 p.m. today. So not too far behind, really. And she says we have probably 25 centimetres of snow that's fallen in the last 2 days. Oh my God, Annalisa. At least we don't have snow. We used to get snow a lot, and snow we've started to get snow later and later now. So February tends to be a good time to get some snow, but I'm not a fan. Emma says that she's sat at work with the heating on. Yes, use works heating. That is always a good plan. So I have got my first two colour bands, if you like. I've got those nicely blended together. I went back over this area here to blend away that line between the Worn Lipstick and the Kitsch Flamingo. I went back over it with the Kitsch Flamingo, and that's made an absolutely gorgeous blend. I have to say that our card bases, so these are the Time for Tea card blanks. If you haven't tried them, I would hugely recommend them. They are excellent quality, and your inks blend onto them so beautifully. We get them from a different supplier to our paper, so I can't get just the cardstock as it is because it's a different supplier. They don't do it just as paper, which is a shame because I would have it 100%. So I'm going to go with the Abandoned Coral as my next colour, and I'm going to use my same brush here. Let me just grab my little microfiber towel just to give it a little bit of a clean off. And I'm only really cleaning it off now just so that I don't get too much of a build-up of ink. Too much of a build-up of ink and you're not going to get such a smooth blend over time. So I'm just trying to manage that for myself. I've got a little bit of random bit of hair. It's either mine or one of the kittens. And I'm just going to blend this up to the top and then into that worn lipstick shade. And again, I'm using that same technique of grasping the head of the brush between my finger and my thumb and a circular motion. And now we're working that colour into the cardstock and into the colour below. And it's just going to get me that lovely blend. And the more ink that I add on top, the more smooth that blend's going to be. Like I said, there's a combination of things that's going on. Randy says that he's loving the blend so far. Hi Randy, thanks for joining us. There's a couple of things that are all working together to make this really blend beautifully. The cardstock is gorgeous. The Distress Oxide inks are that really nice texture. So that again, they're really helping blend. But your blender brushes for me, are the key to the whole thing. If I was using the inks and the cardstock with a traditional foam applicator, I would not be getting this result, and it certainly wouldn't be getting this result this fast, because this is quick. This works really quick. I'm going back in with the worn lipstick now to go over this colour. One of the things about the oxides is they blend over the top of each other, so they're slightly got a bit of opaqueness, if that's a word, which means then when you blend this over the top of that abandoned coral, you're going to see that colour on top. It's not just going to be lost. So now that's created this beautiful gradient of those three colours. I think that looks absolutely gorgeous. Hope you guys can see that. Look how lovely that is. I mean, that's a flawless blend, if I do say so myself. So Annalisa says, I think I need to clean some of my brushes as I don't wipe them off after using them like you do, and they have a lot of build up, so they no longer have soft bristles. So yeah, so that is, I would say, when they get an awful lot of ink in them, that's when they start to lose some of their softness around the edges. So that's the only time that you will either want to wash them possibly or replace them. But that's going to take a long time. Now, if you do the amount of ink blending that we do, then it's going to happen more quickly. And I'm very heavy-handed too, Annalisa. So I think wiping them off occasionally, you don't have to do it every time, but occasionally. I can see that this one is starting to get quite full of ink, so I feel like it's just good maintenance just to give it a good brush now and again. I can see that's the same with this purple one, and I think with some of the inks that are very intense, you know, very pigmented, if I can say that word, that might be a good thing to do as well, because again, if they've got a lot of pigment in them, they're probably going to sit heavier on your bristles. So I think that is looking pretty awesome. So this is what we're going to do. That is going to sit on top of that, and isn't that going to look so cute? I think that's going to look really cute. I like it. So if we imagine what scene, we're going to have this little scene playing out here. Oh my god, that's so cute. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Very cute. Very cute. Now there's one thing that I am thinking of maybe adding to this. Let me see, have I got any of these pre-die cut? Bear with me while I just have a little rummage around in amongst my cardstock stash. Okay, I have here, this is probably not the one that I would use because it is it's white and it's probably not going to work, but I just wanted to see if maybe rather than going edge to edge like we've got here, would a little border around the outside look quite cute. I don't know, I feel like that might make it look a little bit like it's framed, and I'm quite like that. And actually the white I don't mind. It's almost like it's looking through a window or a picture frame. So yeah, quite like that. All right, I am going to I'm going to hang on to that. This is one I've pre-cut and already put some foam on, so I keep it on this. This actually had address labels on it, so I use that because it doesn't permanently stick to the foam, so that's quite handy to have. And I think just framing it looks quite nice, doesn't it? And Lisa agrees, so there we go. That's a vote right there. So pop that back over there, because like I said, I feel like I want to do a few splatters. If you're splattering anything, cover everything up with that's in the area that could be harmed in any way. So I have got my little spray bottle, and I think first of all I'm just going to do some light sprays of water onto this background. Let me grab my brush here, actually. Some larger splatters as well. So depending on the size of splatter that you want will determine what tool you use. So whether you just use the spray bottle, you use a larger brush. So this brush is great for getting a larger splatter. I'll get a bit of tissue here. I'll just blot that. Oh yes, that looks very, very cool. I don't know if you can see that. If I bring it a bit closer, it looks really cute. And then that will sit over the top. But then just to make this a little bit sexier, I'm thinking of maybe adding a bit of the colour scheme that we've used onto here. So I'm going to squidge a bit of the Kitsch Flamingo and a bit of the Abandoned Coral onto my acrylic block. So one on each side, because I don't want them to mix to, I don't want to mix them together on the ink pad itself. I don't want to ruin my ink pad. And I've got a little pot of water here, so we can add a bit of water to the Abandoned Coral. And again, this is going to offer me some bigger splatters because it's a bigger brush. So the higher up I go, the smaller I'm going to get. Closer, I'm probably going to end up with a bigger droplet. And then I'm going to go for some of this Kitsch Flamingo. And I will hold it up to the camera afterwards as well, just in case, you can't see so well. Very nice. I like the Peach Flamingo one is nice. And I'm going to go for some smaller splatters. And then you could also flick off the side of your palette like so. Let me show you what that has resulted in. If I come a bit closer. That's very cute, isn't it? So we need to let these dry a little bit now. I'm going to pop them to one side, and that's kind of what they're going to look like together. So that's going to look so pretty together. So I'm just going to pop them out of harm's way where I can't do any damage to them. And then I'm going to clean everything up. So I've got my little chamois at my desk in front of me, if you could see it. And I don't know whether, you know, maybe this is just everybody's craft space is exactly the same. But even, you know, my little ink pads here I've got covered in it as well, and everything's got pink splatters on it now. But I do love the technique of splattering ink. So give that a nice clean off my ink block as well, which you can see has had a lot of use. And we'll pop this away because now we know what we're doing with our background. We've got our background colour scheme sorted. We can start thinking about our stamped images now. So Annalisa says that the popcorn box is so adorable. Randy says this is one of his favourite stamp sets, and he loves the ink splatter. Couldn't speak then for a moment. I was so excited. Okay, get up there. Oh, goodness. Right. Let's pop some of these things away. So has anybody come up with any ideas of what I can do with these as well? That's your challenge. Now I've got a bit of cardstock here, which is perfect for what we're doing. And I'll get my stamping platform at the ready. And I'm going to trim this down because I don't even need half of it, but we shall trim it down and then get our little images stamped out. Got our lovely sofa. TV. I'm going to stamp two of these guys, and then we've got the popcorn there as well. So get them to attach to the other side, and I'm actually using some of my Fawn ink, which is alcohol marker friendly in jet black. Started using this a bit more recently. It's just a nice alternative to the Memento, which is what I usually use, but I feel like this is a nice deep black, and it does work well with the alcohol markers. I find that maybe you need to let it dry a little bit longer than the Memento, just so that it doesn't interact with the alcohol markers. But once you've given it that opportunity to dry, it works really well. And you'll see, when I say a bit longer, it's no time at all, because I am going to use it pretty much immediately. So I'm just going back over the areas where I've missed a bit of pressure when I've been pressing down. Lovely. And that's the great thing about having the stamping platform, because you can stamp where you may have missed little bits. Randy says, I love that you put things away as you go. It usually stays on my desk for a month before I put stuff away. Oh, Randy, honestly, if you saw the size of the space that I've got here, and I know everybody probably is working in similar spaces, but I do 2 different jobs in here. So I have, next to me is where my PC is, and that's where I do all of my admin work and designing and all of that stuff. And then here is where I craft. And I have all of my craft items around me in easy reach so that I can get to them when I'm doing a live. If I didn't put them away, they would be all over my office desk. They would be just, I would feel like they were just, I couldn't work in, it's not, I can't just close the door on it and when I next come back to craft, it's there, because I have to work in here every day, so I have to put it away. I just can't deal with the chaos if I don't. Okay, so I need another one of these little cats. So I'm gonna risk just stamping this one freehand. So Randy's idea is you can put the confetti inside the card, so when they open it, the hearts fall out. That is such a good idea. I love that. Definitely going to try that. And you know how annoyed Ant would be if I did that, because there'd be hearts all over the floor and he'd be like, right, I've got to clean that up now. Emma says she's off home now, so she will catch up later. Emma, thank you so much for joining us while you were working. I hope nobody noticed. And we'll see you, I'll probably see you tomorrow, maybe. But yeah, we'll definitely catch up. You can catch up with us later. Right, so I'm not going to stamp, am I going to stamp my sentiment? I feel like I've lost half my sentiment. Where's it gone? Love is, no, we were doing let's stay in, weren't we? Where's it gone? No. So we've got, what's here? Let's stay in and watch. See, now this is why if you don't tidy things up, things get lost, don't they? See, because now I've lost 2 of my sentiments. So that's very silly, isn't it? What have I done with those? Do you suppose? They're either stuck to me or they're stuck to something else. I'm sure that they will turn up. So I'm quite concerned now because I don't know where they've gone. Well, let's pop these away. And then, like a good crafter, and they are probably underneath my stamping platform or somewhere daft like that, aren't they? So I'll pop them back in there. Popping that sentiment on there so I don't lose that one. And then pop these back in here. It must be somewhere. It must be somewhere. So that's all good. Not under there, not under there. There must be somewhere. I'm going to have to choose a different sentiment because I've lost them. Oh no, how on earth have I done that? because they're clear, obviously you can't see them, can you? So, ah, there they are. Look. I knew they'd be stuck to something. I could have been looking for them for months and never found them, couldn't I? On the bottom of the lid for my stamp chamois. Wow. Right. Okay. Right. That's that little little mystery solved. Let's get some colouring done. So I'm going to zoom in a bit so that you can see what I'm doing. So let me see if I can get this to zoom. There we go. Randy says it happens to you all the time. Oh, I'm terrible. And they end up like they're stuck to your sleeve or they're stuck to the back of a packet of something. Oh, it's just mental. So I am going to grab my background, even though it's not fully dried, but I do want to use it as a little bit of a colour inspiration, shall we say. So speaking of colour inspiration, let's grab some of my marker pens here, because I'm thinking, right, okay, what colours are going to go well with this? How bright do I want to go in terms of the furniture and things like that? This retro telly is really, really cute. I think I'm going to start with the retro TV, if I'm honest, and I'm going to do that in I'm going to come to my sofa last, and the reason for that is because I'm not sure what colour I really want to go for. Do I want to keep it a neutral colour, or do I want to make it a bright colour? Do I make it a pale pink colour, or do I add a splash of contrasting colour? I'm not sure yet. So those are the questions. If anybody's got any suggestions for colour, then please do shout them out. But I think I am going to go with like a tone-on-tone kind of a situation, rather than introducing a new colour. We've got four colours essentially here, haven't we? The vanilla, yellow, and then we've got the two shades of pink and that kind of salmony red. So I've got my E35 now. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading around the bottom of my TV, just around the top of the screen there, just to give it a little bit of dimension in those corners, under the buttons as well. Nothing too detailed, keeping it nice and simple. Randy's loving the colours, thank you so much. So actually I do have something else to tell you all as well. You may have seen on one of our recent newsletters that we do, and on the website as well, that we do have a design team call coming up soon. So I would love it if you are a Time for Tea fan, and you know, you're already passionate about what we do as a business. I would love for you guys to apply. We've got a number of roles available, so there's plenty of opportunities for anybody who's interested. So yeah, there will be details of how to apply going out. If not tonight, then tomorrow. It all depends on how much work I get done after the live tonight, or how long we're on this evening. I think I'm going to go with the C3 here. In fact, I'm going to start with my darker shade first, which is going to be my C7, because we're working in some very small areas here, so it's sometimes easy to go darker to lighter in these areas, and I'm just going to do those completely. So yeah, we have a lovely design team, some of whom are with me tonight, which is so nice. And yeah, it's just, if you love playing with Time for Tea products anyway, then you're going to love being part of the team. So look out for those details. If you're not already subscribing to our newsletter, then now's a really good time to do that, because you'll get alerted straight away and you'll get all the details that you need. But yeah, it's been something that I've been wanting to get advertised for a while now, because we have had some changes in the team, some people who have stepped down for whatever reason, and so yeah, it's left spaces for other people to join us, which will be really lovely to get some new people onto the team. So I'm just looking for a colour that might match this vanilla shade. That was a little bit orangey for me. Let's have a look. Oh, that's far too yellow. Oh dear, no, that's far too yellow. That might have been not too bad. Let's have a look at this. See, I think this might be a bit too cold of a yellow. I think I might be struggling with this one. I think the silk might be the closest to it, so may go with that. And I'm going to start with that on the outside anyway. So I think, yeah, we'll use that as this colour here. It's a pretty colour, definitely. And then I need a colour that is a bit too pale, but that one might be a nice colour for sofa. So I'm just testing out a few colours. I think my blush pen is looking very dry. I think that one's going to have to go on the list to be replaced, but I do think that is a nice salmony pink colour. I do love that. So pop that. I've got a little tray in front of me, a little pot in front of me that is for all of my markers that are drying up or have dried up, so that I can then put them in my little fund for replacement. Okay, so I am going to say that we need a bit more of a brighter pink than some of these. That is, yeah, I'm going to say that is pretty much a bang on shade for the mid-tone. But do I want to go a bit brighter for a bit of a kitsch flamingo colour? Yeah. So this is the RV02. And all I'm doing is kind of mirroring the colours that we've used for our background. To then create this heart in the middle of our TV. So I'm now using RV23. That's centerpiece. And then the colour that I'm going to use on the inside is another colour that is almost, I think, is getting a wee bit dry. It's one of my most used colours, and it's the R24. So Annalise is saying you could make a heart banner on a card, I can't speak, heart banner on a card and colour them all different colours. That would be so cool. And you know what else you could do, Annalisa, and I'm definitely going to try this. Use one of our alphabet stamp sets And you could heat emboss this as well, which would look really cool, and make a bespoke kind of sentiment or greeting or name on that banner. I think that would be a really cool idea. So I'm going to make the round button red, and then these little edges here also going to be red. So I think that looks really cute. And then for the popcorn in my head, popcorn is usually red and white. See, that this is why I think it's really nice to talk to each other about bounce different ideas of each other, because between us we've come up with a really nice idea, and I think that, you know, I really want to see that happen now. So yeah, there you go. That's your challenge, Annalisa. And Annalisa says she would make the couch blue, but she loves bold colours, and I'm not one for pale designs. But you love pale designs, but you don't really do pale designs. No, I find it hard to do subtle and pale, Annalisa. You know this. So yeah, I'm also was thinking, oh, do I go for a contrasting colour for the couch? But I also then am conscious I don't want to pull away from, you know, I don't want to take all the attention off our little images. So I'm going to do their the popcorn buckets. I'm going to do them all red, I think. And do you know what I'm thinking of doing with the couch? And you might think I'm really boring for doing this, so do excuse me if that is the case. But I am thinking of doing it in like a brown, neutral brown shade, because a lot of us have kind of neutral brown or grey sofas, don't we? So I think that might actually look quite cool. So R24, R27 now, and I'm going to use that to just add a little bit of depth to the bottom of all of these popcorn buckets, and then a bit of shading underneath those little paws as well. I also feel like I might just add a little bit of depth to that centre heart, just because it'll just make it look a little bit more, just a little, give it a little bit more depth. And just around the paws there. So we're not doing anything too complicated with the colouring. They're small images, so we don't have to go mad. So blending that through. And that one too. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. There we go. For the little, I love the contrast of red and pink, especially when it's a really bright pink. So I'm going to do the centres of the, you know, the little labels on the popcorn in that colour. And then I'm going to add a little bit of this vanilla-y colour to the bottom of there, just to give that a little bit of shading. And then we need to colour in our popcorn. Now, I have coloured popcorn in before, and I found it really difficult to find really nice yellow colours that were popcorny colour. I think we've tried that. I feel like that's too orangey. The paler yellows are very very acidic looking, and I know they do dry back a different colour to what first goes down, but I do sometimes find them just a little bit too acidic. But like I say, the YR colours are all a little bit too peachy and a bit orange. So it is really, I found it very, very hard to find a really nice colour that would work for popcorn. And if anybody's got any ideas, got any like suggestions that they use, maybe the pale yellow is going to be the best shout. I also have the Y21 is in my little bucket of it's dry, but I feel like that might be the best colour to go for. So I'm going to go with the Y11 as my base colour. So I'm just going to go over everything. This is just the base colour for all of the popcorn. I don't know whether maybe I could have done with another popcorn bucket. And then I'm going to use the Y21, which is a little bit darker, to add, I suppose, a shadow, or just a bit of, you know, like the burnt, kind of burnt look that you get on some popcorn pieces. And I think the combination of those two colours together, I'm going to hold that a little bit closer so you can see. The combination of those two colours together, I think, is the best I'm going to get. So, and I'm quite happy with that. I think it looks quite nice. So for these bits where the popcorn isn't as defined, I'm just adding just a few like little smudges almost where I fancy adding it. So again, just a few little smudges and making it look a little bit more popcorny. Okay, so let's have a look. YV00 should be a really nice bright pale pink. Yes, it is. And I'm going to use that for the bottoms of the feet, which is very, very pale pink, very very much probably not a natural kind of colour for the cat's feet, but I just feel like it goes really well. So I'm just over the top of that, I'm adding a tiny smudge, tiny little smudge of the RV02, and I'm going to add that to the noses as well. So that's really sweet. And then I'm going to colour in my my cats. I'm not going to use the cool greys because we've used that for, I like cool greys for metal, I think, because it is that cooler grey. It doesn't seem like, you know, it's as natural. So for natural beings, I like to use either the neutral shades of grey or the toner shades of grey. So I think I'm going to go with the neutral. So I've got a neutral grey in here. Let's have a look. N7 and N3. That should work. So I'm going to try and make two different coloured kitties here. And I'm going to mark out my colouring basically with the lightest shade, the N3. So this little guy is going to have a white face and white paws and a white tip to his tail. So the N5 I'm going to use then as just a little bit of shading around the edges. So I'm just adding that right around the very edges there. And might add a tiny bit around that bit of popcorn. And again to the base of the tail. And then we're going to add the N3 over what we've just done. So blend those edges through. Blend that around the ears. Up there. And then with the N7, I'm going to make some like little stripes. I'm just using a little zigzag kind of a motion in towards the middle there, and then some little stripes on the tail. And then we'll blend those out a little bit so they don't look quite so harsh with the N5. So just go back over those, blur those edges with the N5. And then again with the N3. So with that lightest colour, just going to blend over the whole thing. Just to soften the edges on all of those stripes. You'll still see them. We still look like we've got a little stripy tabby cat. So for the middle of his face, I've got some E40, and for those white bits where I just want to see a little bit of shading on his paws, then the E40 is the perfect kind of greyish shade, I think. So he's very cute, isn't he? And then if we use that RV00 again to add a bit of pink to those cheeks, it's keeping all of the pink tones are the same. For this guy here, I want him to kind of match but I want him to be different. So we could either make him all grey, which would be very cute, but I might make him a much softer grey. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to do that. I don't think I've done that before, so let's have a go. So in order to do that, because we're going to keep him really pale, I'm going to start with the N3, and I'm going to use that for my shading. So I'm going to use that around the edges of the face, right at the very edge. I'm just using the very tip of my brush to do this. I'm going to use a little bit under the paws there, and at the bit of the feet that is behind the popcorn, just there, and then a little bit in those areas behind the popcorn. And then the N0, so this is a really nice pale shade, very, very pale in comparison to the N3, but it does blend quite nicely. If you just smudge in those edges a little bit, that will blend in really nicely. And what you'll find is if you are, if you're wanting to keep things really light and keeping things really pale, then putting that darker shade down does help, putting that down first, because it means you're not going over everything again. Because if you do that, you're adding more layers to your colour, and then it's getting slightly darker every time you do it. So again, a little bit of pink on those cheeks, just to add a little bit of colour. Oh, I think they look so cute. I'm really pleased with how they've turned out. They look really adorable. So that's my little, let me just make sure I'm putting all of these back where they need to be. So I am going to do that sofa in brown, but I want to make it a little bit of a paler brown. But my issue is that I think that, oh no, I have got an E30, that's good, but I don't have an E31. That's where my E31 is in the little bin of things that need replacing. So, but let's go with this and see what happens. So I am going to cover all of my sofa in this now. Again, this is going to keep it quite a nice neutral background because we've got lots of pops of colour going on. But I might leave those little, although you're probably not going to see those actually, because our little characters are going to be sat there, aren't they? So the E33, what have I done with that? I'm going to use this to add a little bit of shadow. Hello. And it's saying hello to me. we are still recording. So before you say anything rude, so I'll just add. So I'm adding a little curve around there, and even though I've not blended that in, I think you can see straight away that that is creating that little bit of dimension and movement for the sofa. And then if we add a little bit of shadow to the base of the back of the sofa, again that's going to add a little bit of dimension, and around there as well. Yes, that's cute. And also around each of those little buttons. And then I'm going to go back in with the E30, blend out those edges for all of that we've just created. There is a bit of a gap between that E30 and the E33, so I'm getting a little bit of, which you might have experienced before when you've used your markers like this, where there is a bit of a gap. So the lighter colour is bleaching out the colour that you've previously put on there, and that's creating almost a little bit of a speckled effect. So I will show you how we can combat that, but I'm just working this in at the minute. I'm not worrying too much about that kind of speckled watermark effect, because it is going to dry back. That's the other thing, is it will dry back. So just adding that, pulling that colour down. I've not gone right to the edge there because I want to leave a little bit of a highlighted line there, and then I'm blending around each of those buttons so that they look a bit sunken. So going back over those areas we've already done, and actually they've dried back really nicely. So initially I was thinking, oh, I might be getting a bit of a speckled watermark effect, but now they've dried back, they actually look really good. So I don't think I need to worry about those too much. So just really lightly just pulling that colour all the way up to meet that bit at the top that we did. And we'll bring that down again as well, so that they all blend together. So they've not fully dried back yet, but they will. In the meantime, the feet I'm going to do in grey. Which, would they be grey? I don't know if they would be grey, but in my living room that we're creating, they're going to be, because it's going to match with the TV. So that's the N5, that's the N3, maybe the N7, sorry, C7, start again. C3, C5 and C7 is going to just give a little bit of a line under there. Lovely. So I'm going to bring this up to show you that that is now is starting to dry back really nice and look like a really nice couch, but I've not gone too dark, so I've kept it quite pale and quite subtle, which is what I wanted to do. And then for those little buttons, which we probably won't see, but I just thought would be a little bit of fun to add some of that RV23 to those little buttons. So now all that's really left now is to cut this out. So let me just pop my pens back where they belong. I've got a number of pens in my stash here next to me, ready for the class tomorrow. So they're all the pens that I'm going to need for the class tomorrow. So I've kept them all together, which is good. And I'm going to snip down my cardstock here, just so that I can pop these through my mini machine. And we also just need to think about sentiment still, don't we? So we've not fully decided what we're doing with the sentiment yet. Mini die-cut machine, that's what I'm doing. Okay. Right. Dies. We need the die from the Home is Where the Heart Is, and the TV from that set as well. And then what did I do with the movie one? Here we go. And this one I need the little cat. Is that the little cat? That's the little cat. And I also need the popcorn. If I can get that out with my fingers. There we go. So, bit of washi tape required for this, and I will zoom back out once we've got everything die cut. Pop that one on there. I'm going to add an extra bit of tape to that because I don't want it moving around, and then one on this chap here as well. There we go. And my cat, I'll do my cat and my TV at the same time. Would make sense. Annalisa says she likes the brown couch, very pretty. There you go, you see. And you welcome Ant's rude comments. No, you definitely don't. Do not encourage him, Annalisa. He needs no encouragement. Right, so he's actually off to work very soon. So yeah, it's probably be getting himself ready for work in a bit. He's on nights tonight, so that's the couch. TV. What am I talking about? And we have one little cat. Yep. And then let's get this other little cats. Cut out these little characters for the movie stamps that are so adorable. Has anybody made any Valentine's themed cards, by the way? Anybody other than the design team, of course. And Lisa says it must be so very hard working nights. I can't imagine it must make you sleep terribly. So it does and it doesn't, because when they're on night shifts, if there is nothing going on, they've not got any calls or anything, and they've got all of the stations being cleaned and tidied, and they've got all of their kind of admin tasks done, they are then encouraged to go to bed after midnight, because they need to be alert and ready to go if there is an emergency. So if you've been kept up all night, you know, you're not going to be at your best. So sensibly, they do allow them to go to bed. But if something happens in the night, which it very often does, the alarms go off and they all have to jump out of bed and jump into action, and that could be, you know, that could happen several times in a night. So when that happens, it is very hard for him to catch up on his sleep, and it's, you know, it does then, because he does 2 days and then 2 nights, it's often very difficult on the second of those nights if your first night has been very disturbed. So yeah, it is a tough one. It's not something I would like to do now. I have worked nights in previous jobs in the past, and it does mess up your body clock. It's something awful. It's very hard to get back into a normal daytime routine once you've worked you know, a few night shifts. So let's pop these back. So again, Randy, we are tidying up so we don't lose any of our dies. So that goes in there, and these go in here. And everything has its place. I love the magnetic sheets for just keeping all of my dies nicely organised and in place. Pop that there. Right, so now let's have a look at what we're going to do here and what we're thinking with the sentiment, what kind of background. I'm thinking that maybe maybe the white would look okay. Let's make an arrangement and see. So because we've gone very tone on tone, everything's very pink. It's very cute. We've got the extra bit of popcorn there, and then we are going to have I need to zoom out a little bit down. So let me zoom out so you can see what we're doing. How's that? That's a bit better, isn't it? So we've now got, going to have our little frame. So let me I'm just going to add the sticky back on there actually, so that we can do this as a test. That has no sticky on that bit. There is no backing on that bit, but yeah, I think that's going to look really cute there, isn't it? And then the sentiment is going to sit there. So what do you think for sentiment? White with black, or black with white, or red with white? I think I quite like the idea of movies being down there, just a little bit off centre, and then we have the let's stay in and watch just there. And I think I might go with black on white, because that'll really stand out, be quite punchy. What do we think? Or we could do white on black. We could do white on black first, actually, and see what that looks like, because we're going for a white border, aren't we? So that might look quite cool. And Lisa says, weather update. It is still snowing. Large snowflakes. Please make it stop. Oh, Annalisa, I wish I could make it stop for you, because that is my worst nightmare right there. Yeah, I'm not a fan. Definitely not a fan. Now then, that's not quite a long enough piece of white cardstock, but we do have a piece here. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to line up. Let's stay in and watch. Now what you will find, oh, I've got a little bit of fluff there, because and I'm going to see if, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but all stamp sets, or all photopolymer stamp sets at least, have an extra little lip of the photopolymer around the edges. That's just how it's trimmed so that it all, you know, kind of works. Oh, Randy loves the embossed look, so always go with white on black card. I know, I do like that look. I think I'm going to go for it, you know, but I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming around here, so don't be afraid to do this. But I'm trimming off a little bit of excess just on the edge of my stamp here. It's not changing the bit that actually stamps, so if you can see from the top view, this bit's the bit that's going to stamp. All I'm doing is cutting this little edge off here. That means then that I can butt these up a little bit closer together. So again, this one has got quite a large bit of fluff on it, but also quite a large lip around that edge. So if I trim that bit off there, it's not going to lose any of its integrity. It's not going to not stamp correctly. You can see how much there on the scissors that I've trimmed off the edge. That's just going to mean I can line them up a little bit closer to each other. So we've got, let's stay in and watch. So we're going to pop that onto there, and then and watch is on there. And then we're also going to do the movies, but we're going to do that separately. So actually I could do with just moving those up a little. Let's use the whole stamping block and try and be efficient. The only challenge that I've got is making everything straight, which I don't believe that is. I mean, the stamping block's got lines on it, for heaven's sake, but I still struggle. There we go. And I'm just trying to make them as snug as possible. They seem fairly straight. I think I'm going to be okay with that. And I'm going to pop movies there. Okay, Randy has voted for black cardstock, so that's what we're going for. I just need to find my black cardstock. Here it is. Okay. Oh, we've got lots of black pieces of cardstock. Have we got any that are long enough? That's the question. Lots of scraps. This one looks like a nice decent sized scrap that we can use and stamp the whole thing at once. So let's put that there, and we need embossing ink, we need embossing powder, we need an anti-static powder, and I'm using this powder, this XOXO, I believe it's called, and just rubbing that all over the back there. It smells lovely, it smells delicious. I will also need a little bit of scrap paper, which I've got here. So I'm just going to pop that underneath there before we start. And then let's stamp these words. Firm pressure, just giving it a little bit of a wiggle. There we go. White embossing ink over, powder over the top. Some there, some there. Oh, very nice. I think the watch bit has got a little bit smushed, but that's okay. Nothing that we can't clean up. We'll just pop that back in there. So here we've got a little bit of smudging on that C. So I'm just going to use my little pokey tool here. And I'm going to very carefully indeed, scrape away some of that powder, so that we get a bit of a cleaner finish. I think it's going to be just fine. So heat tool. Lovely. So we're just going to let those dry a little bit. As you can see that my paper's warped a little bit, but it will it'll settle back down once it cools. So I'm just cleaning off my stamps there. And you can see what I was saying about just trimming off that little bit of excess has meant there is a bit more of an appropriate gap in between the two words. Right, I think we can start popping this together. I think that's cooled down sufficiently for us to be able to just put a quick rub over with this cloth. Buff that over with a microfiber cloth, and then we can trim this down. Now let me see, where have I put my fishtail banner guys? I think I have put them to one side because I'm using them for tomorrow's class. This will be long enough, but it is, then perfecto. Yes, okay, I'm going to use that cut this bit out. So I'm just going to trim this down like so, because I only need this bit to go through my machine. Some nice bits of washi tape on here because I don't want this moving around. So put that on there. Randy, I think you were definitely right. The embossed look is definitely the best. This one I'm going to go rogue and I'm just going to trim it with my scissors. I don't want this to be a banner shape. I just want it to be quite fun. So that's a good little shape. We might trim it down a bit more. I mean, I could, technically speaking, use the coordinating dies. So all of the sentiments do have a coordinating die with them, but I quite like the fact that they're going to be quite like a banner rather than anything else. So let's get this stuck together, shall we? So for our background, now that's dried our dye, we can attach it to our foam using some glue, if my glue wasn't clogged, which it happens to be at the moment. There we go. Oh no, the glue is clogged. Isn't that just typical? There we go. It's never a good idea to test your glue and squeeze your glue really hard over your project, which is what I've just done. I have had that happen to me before, where I've squeezed something so hard that it's just exploded, like the top's exploded off. So this is definitely having a bit of a clogged moment, so I'm going to just grab a pin. That's better. That's better, isn't it? So we'll just dab some glue all over the gaps. But this is going to be so much easier than trying to add foam to the back of it. So much easier. There we go. So if you're going to add foam tape, we'd be here. I mean, it's been a long one already, hasn't it? Because we've done all kinds. Shani says, gorgeous card, Joe, definitely need these stamp sets. Oh, they are so cute. I do think that this one is in the Valentine's sale. I'm sure it is. So have you seen the Valentine's sale, guys? There is a sale on at the moment where you can get 20% off all our Valentine's themed products. So they're in the Valentine's collection. You don't need a code. You just go in, make your selections, and the discount will be applied automatically. So I'm just going to trim off some of the excess foam. What you might find with machines like Crafter's Companion, the Gemini, because it is there is a lot of pressure going through it, sometimes squashes the foam a little bit. So that's what I find sometimes happens. So it sometimes ends up being slightly larger than your cardstock layer. So I just trim off the excess, it's totally fine. perfectly around the heart shapes. It's just those edges tend to splay out a little bit for some reason. So let's pop that layer onto there. Now, one thing that we have done in the past is paper piece some of the hearts back in. If you're doing a background like that, that's really, really, really fun to do. So you could also do that with this die. It's such a pretty die. It creates such a pretty background. So we're going to pop our frame on, because I think the frame does really work with this design. And as we had it already prepared, why not? Shani says, can I please ask what storage you use for your Copic markers? You can, absolutely, and I will tell you. I might even be able to show you at the end. We'll see. Just bear with while I just line this guy up. I'm going to line him up perfectly. There we go. I think we did that quite well, didn't we? So I'm confusing myself because I can't open it, because I did stick it down, didn't I, with a bit of washi tape. So we'll unstick it. There we go. So we can open it up. Like, to make sure I've got it the right way around. Let's pop these little guys in here then. So what storage do I use? I actually use wine bottle bins, which that is exactly what they are. They are like the plastic wine bottle holders, and each so one of them holds 8 wine bottles, and I've just put a backer onto it, a bit of card on the back so they don't go straight the way through, and then each loop that would hold a wine bottle holds some of my markers. And it's a really cool way of storing them, I've found. It keeps them all flat. I can see them, you know, I can have one like little wine bottle holder for each colour. So it just means that they are organised really well. So I'm going to use some of my foam tape as well. So I'll see if I can get a view of it on the camera when we're finished. I'm not sure if I'll be able to twist it far enough, or maybe it might make you feel a wee bit sick. But before I change the view, I might be able to take it off the stand and show you. So I'll put the little TV down there, and then I'll chop a few bits of foam tape for our little cats. So we'll pop them on that side. So I'm imagining that this little character is me, and I always sit on that side of the settee. And then this one's Anne, and he always sits on that side. So, see, I told you those little buttons covered up, so it didn't really matter what we did with them. And then I've got 2 little bits of foam tape that were left over from our cats, so we can use those for the popcorn. What a fab idea, thank you. I love the organised more storage, but they are in America and they don't, and you don't fancy pay the. I know, I love them as well, Shani, but I did see somebody online, I can't remember who it was, who'd done the same, and they're just from Amazon. They're not expensive at all, and I've had to customise them slightly to just put like a little bit of cardstock in the back of them, so like I say, they don't fall right through because they are quite deep. And you have to get, not like the can, because you can get ones for cans, they're not long enough, so you need the ones that are for the wine bottles, so they're a little bit longer, and yeah, they're perfect. So I'm just going to snip off the end of that. I'm going to have that coming out there, and then the movies at the bottom there. I think that looks really cute. I feel like I would have probably moved my TV up a little bit, but I'm not going to try and move him now because I've got not a prayer, and I'm also taking my life into my own hands by trying to trim down this sentiment. As straight as possible without using a trimmer, which is never really advisable, but I'm feeling brave. Yeah, that's a bit better. I feel like that's a little bit smaller and a bit neater. So I'm going to switch to the thinner foam and pop that onto here. Oh, just a little tad too long. On the back of this one. That on a little bit of an angle just makes it look a little bit more fun. And then final little touches, I think, are going to be adding a little bit of white to some white highlights. See if my pen's working. Yep, there we go. So just get it working a little bit. I love adding highlights and little strokes of like fur and things to my images. Just think it finishes them off really nicely. A little bit to the couch, and there, a little bit to the TV. I don't know why, but I find it so satisfying. It's one of my favourite things to do. It just really is satisfying little finishing touch. Sorry if my head got in the way there, because that does happen. And then I also really enjoy doing the little bit of black glaze pen to the eyes. And there we go. I think we can call that done. And Lisa says, what a fun scene. Will Ant get this as his Valentine's card? I think he might, you know, because I am really happy with it. I think it's a perfect one for him. And although there's a lot of pink in there, is it too girly? I don't know. I think it looks really cute. And that is us. That is us. Sat on the sofa, watching a movie. Love it. I really enjoyed making that. Right, I'm going to see if, I wonder if I can show you, so I think my camera's moved anyway. I mean, it is just crafty carnage. Let me see if I can change the view. Hello. So you can see it's the camera's moved now. I'm going to move you, so I'm sorry if this makes you a little bit ill. I'm going to change the view around. See, look at all the crafty mess here. But these are the bins, or the wine racks that I mentioned. So again, sorry if that makes you a little bit nauseous as I try and I'm holding it as still as I possibly can. But you see, I've got this one here that holds 8, and then these are actually these are individual ones stacked on top of each other. The ones at this side, they are individual ones stacked on top of each other, and they're the clear ones, and then these are white. And you can see at the side here, I've actually added a bit of cardstock along the sides and along the top as well, just so that you can things don't fall out, if you know what I mean. So I'm hoping that you can get a good view. If I show you down there, I don't know if you can see right to the back, there's a little bit of card in the back of each of those racks that means that the pens don't fall right the way back there. And I've got room for more. Yay, I can add some more in. So there you go. Do I need some more scissors, do you think? I've got a few, 1 or 2. A scissor for every occasion, Annalisa. And this is in front. I'll just give you a quick view of what's in front of me as well. These are all of my inks that I grab when I'm working. So yeah, so there you go. So sorry if that's making everyone feel a little bit queasy. I don't know if I can get you to sit back on top of there. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was very much of a bumpy ride. Ooh, I don't think it's going to stay still. There we go. Heavens. But so that was a little bit of a strange little tour. Hang on, I've got to move that a little bit round for some reason. It has to be facing away from me for it to look at me. Bizarre. So that was a little bit of a look around of what chaos is going around me. And as you can see, I'm working very much, you know, in the space around me, so I have to keep it tidy. But I hope that you enjoyed today's little craft along with me. Hope it's given you a bit of inspiration. This is the card that we made. And I'm so pleased and thrilled that the technology worked for me for once. Can you see that okay? There you go. The technology worked. Yay. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I've really enjoyed making the card with you today. And I hope that you can join me for the virtual card making class. Tag me in any of your makes, because we've got a competition going on at the moment that will be drawn on Sunday. So if you've got any Valentine's themed or any themed at all, let me move this way. Is that better? Which way is better? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, if you've got any cards at all, is that better? That you've made during this week, tag Time for Tea Designs. I'll find you. Yeah, you could win £25 to spend at Time for Tea Designs. There's a sale going on. There's all things happening. So please check out the Time for Tea Designs blog, because all of the information that you need, everything that's going on at the moment, will be there. So here's our card. And thanks so much for watching. Thank you, guys. Have an absolutely amazing weekend. And I hope to see you really soon. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.